that I've waited for now is what I was created for now. I'm gonna let you know what I'm feeling now. I must be quite emphatical. I'm feeling plain ecstatical. Wow. I might just float right up to the ceiling. The joy inside me, the smile you see, it's for one reason alone. The time and place where I want to be is holy hot damn, right where I am now. The past is too historical now. The future needs an oracle now. Is when you feel euphorical. Trust me, your crowning achievement, your greatest prize will come on the day that you realize the moment you're living for. Wow, is now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Britt Elders. Shirley was called into a pre-production meeting, so I'm sitting in for her this evening. Tonight, our guest is Dr. Georgina Cannon. She's been a long-time contributor to ShirleyMacLaine.com. She's truly a gift to all of us, and she's been in chats and on IE radio numerous times. Georgina is an award-winning author. She's a change catalyst, a corporate speaker, international facilitator, and practicing consulting hypnotist. And she's a dear friend. She is a terrific lady that touches the lives of everyone she meets. Tonight, we thought we'd look at ways to help make 2015 a forward-moving year that can enrich our lives. Georgina, welcome to IE Radio, and thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, and thank you for that lovely introduction. I'd like to do it all over again. Oh, that warmed my heart. Thank you.
Oh, well, it's all true. Now, you have a great ebook out called, a digital book out called Dump the Junk.
Yes.
I love the title.
Yes.
Is dumping the junk the best way to start a new year?
It's absolutely the best way to start a new year, because what it does is it gets you to reevaluate where you've been, where you are, and where you want to go. And I tell my clients that we're not trees. You know, although we have roots, we can move.
It's very true. Unfortunately, we think those roots go on forever, and we got to stay stuck.
Oh, my goodness. Well, it's so much easier to stay stuck, you know.
Yes.
And I thought with your agreement, what I might do today is talk about the preparation, the thinking about change and the preparation and what it takes to get there and how to keep it there.
Absolutely.
Because it's easy to talk about it. You know, we all talk about, I want to lose weight, I want to do this, I want to do that.
Right.
But we don't do it. And we don't do it because sometimes we talk ourselves through it so much we think we've done it. You know, people who talk a lot about eating better, or talk a lot about changing relationships, they talk a lot, so much about it that they forget that they haven't done it.
Excellent point. That's very true.
Yeah, yeah. So
you get so focused on I'm going to that you don't.
That we don't. Yeah. So think about yourself as a tree pulling up roots and just being like a triffid. Do you remember the triffid movies?
Oh yes.
Where they sort of moved around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we have to think about when we stopped celebrating our life. How do we come to need motivating to live our life rather than just really enjoying it and thriving in it and celebrating it? Because life is ever changing, including, you know, when you look at the seasons or you look at anything, the rise of the sun and the moon. And by the way, I can go on murmuring forever, so please interrupt me if I go on.
Oh, no, that's okay.
So one of the things I thought we might do is to start looking at the important areas of life, including your personal life, your business life, your spiritual life for sure, and your physical life, and that includes your closets and the drawers in your kitchen and everything, and really thinking about dumping the junk, really thinking about what it's going to take to tidy up, to clean out, clear out, get a fresh start, make space and air around you, physically, emotionally, spiritually, so that you can breathe. You can breathe and just start looking at the sun again,
Oh, how nice. Okay.
Okay.
Where's a good place to start?
A place to start. And I think that, as you mentioned in the book, we've got a lot of worksheets that people can use and go ahead. But for now, I'm just going to talk generally about the process. And I think the first thing to do is to decide what it is, where you have the clutter. A lot of us have emotional clutter. We carry guilt we don't need. We carry... let
me stop you right there.
Sure.
I've got to ask you a question.
Sure.
Do we need guilt of any type?
I think guilt is the most useless emotion of all time.
I do too.
To be honest, it doesn't do any good.
Right.
It doesn't add anything. It doesn't motivate us to anything. It just doesn't do anything. It just drains you. Like dirty water in the sink, it just sort of sits there.
Right. Yeah, and gets stagnant and does all kinds of terrible things. Yes.
Yeah, makes everything else toxic,
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to have to change.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just... Okay, so let's go with guilt and get that out of the way.
Get that out of the way. And get resentment out the way, too. I mean, that's
good point.
Yeah, no, guilt is for ourselves and resentment's for other people, but it's the same level of uselessness. At least anger can turbocharge you. Anger. Well, it can, right? People become successful because I'm going to show them that I'm not stupid, or I'm going to show them, right? So anger can turbocharge you, but resentment doesn't do anything. It drains you, like guilt does. So we're going to get rid of those two. So those those are persona non grata. Those are relationships and things we don't want in our life. So start looking at some of the things that you carry in the way of emotions and write them down. Anger, sadness, grief, for sure, resentment, guilt, feelings of not good enough, whatever. And the resentment can be against one person. I mean, if you have a boss that continually dumps things on your desk at 5:30 in the evening and says they want it first thing in the morning, then yes, you're going to be resentful if you don't do something about it.
Right.
But look and see what you have positively as well. What do you have in your life that's really positive? Right? Do you have integrity? Do you have kindness? Do you have nurturing? I mean, what do you have in your life? So make sure that you look at both sides, because you want to be very clear on your intent to clean the closet. It's like, when you go into your closet and you want to get rid of clothes you haven't worn for 5 years because you might grow back into them.
Right.
Right.
We all have that thing going, yeah.
And then you bump into someone and you say, oh, that's a nice dress. And they say, I've had it for 20 years and it fits me again. You think, oh, damn, why did I throw that stuff? But you have to, because we need air. We need air in our emotions and in our closets and our drawers, because the energy moves around. Otherwise, it's stagnant. It gets terribly stagnant. And by the way, talking of stagnant energy, one of the easiest ways when you've cleared your closet if you don't have a bowl, a sounding bowl or bells, one of the easiest ways to get that stagnant air, that stagnant energy moving, by the way, is to clap your hands sharply to stir up that energy and in the corners of your closet or anywhere that's been stagnant. So know that. Yeah, that helps.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, it really, you just literally go, like a sharp clap, and that moves the energy in the corners. It gets the molecules moving. But the most difficult one is to look and see about your traveling companions, people that go with you through life, family, friends, people along the way that you work with, and see which of these people are draining you, are not people you would choose to share a joyous life with.
Now, this can be really difficult for people because we have a tendency to commit to someone, and then for whatever reason, when that relationship stops existing on a beneficial level to all parties, we want to continue it. How do we get past that need for the comfort of the
familiarity?
Yeah, and the static, yeah.
Well, part of it is to understand that they're not adding value. It's a bit like all of those rubber bands in your drawer that you don't need or don't use and just get gummy after a while. You know, you have to make a decision about them. So with people that are in your life, particularly family, you can't just say, I don't want you in my life anymore unless it's really bad. You just find a way of managing it so the relationship isn't as invasive and as important.
Uh-huh.
So if you don't build your life around these relationships that don't add value, but just take up space, then you'll find you have more space.
Okay.
Is that making sense?
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm.
So if you have a friend who's been a friend of yours ever since junior school, and you sort of kind of like her or him, but this doesn't add value. There's no there. You just sort of feel when you leave a little less than, or you feel that you've not wasted, but it's been empty time.
Yes.
Then find a way of doing something together, maybe once a month or once every other month, if you want to maintain that relationship, like going to a movie or, playing bridge or whatever it is you choose to do, but do something. So you don't sit and talk at each other and just build an empty space together.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you maintain the link.
Right.
You don't deny, because that person's not bad. It's just that there's no more connection.
Right.
It's like a very, very expensive piece of clothing that you bought 5 years ago, and it's slightly out of date, and it certainly doesn't fit.
Uh-huh.
You just don't give it to someone else that could use it, but don't keep it in your cupboard.
Got it.
Taking up space. So it's the same thing with relationships, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the people in your life. So who brings positive energy and who brings negative energy? So you need to make a list of those and see where the gaps are, and then go out looking for positive energy in your life, positive people. I don't mean people who wear rose-colored glasses all the time, but people who really do see life as a gift.
Right.
And that's why people surround themselves with animals, because animals see themselves as a gift to their owners and to each other.
They are. There is no question. They are.
They enjoy every single minute. Right?
Yeah, and we have to get to that space where we can do the same.
That's right. And one of the things that I explain to my clients is you never see one dog comparing itself to another dog. My tail's longer than yours. Right? My eyes are bigger than yours.
Good point. Mm-hmm.
My owner likes me more than yours does. I mean, they don't do that. They just enjoy what they have.
What is it with humans that we feel a need to do that?
Well, I think we're part of us when we're young, we're brought up to, it doesn't matter your environment, we're brought up to always want to be liked.
Right.
And liking equals perfection, right? Or perfection equals liking.
Okay.
In a child mind.
Right.
And animals don't do that. They just are.
Mm-hmm. Yes, wonderfully, they are.
They just are. I had a client last week who said to me, I think part of my problem, after working with her for quite a while, she said, I've come to the realization that I felt I wasn't enough.
Ooh.
And that is so sad.
It really is.
So,
I think all of us, though, at some point have felt something like that.
Yes.
That we have not been or given or done enough for someone else.
Yeah.
And then when the realization sinks in that, oh my gosh, I've done everything I possibly can and there's nothing left, then things begin to change quite a bit.
Indeed. But I am not enough. So I said to her, do you understand that that's an insult to God?
Uh-huh.
Do you understand that a baby coming into this world, a brand new soul coming into this world, is enough?
Right.
It is. So, and she said, well, I get that now, but I didn't when I first started coming. I mean, that was a whole different, but just that phrase, I didn't feel I was enough. So if you've certainly got that in your life, that needs to go too. That's part of the detritus of that drawer in the kitchen that contains all the pieces of things you don't know what to do with that are not great. The self-sabotage pieces that just drag you down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of clearing it out. The other part of clearing out is understanding what promises you've made yourself over time that you've not kept as part of self-sabotage.
Uh-huh.
Because you're letting yourself down, and a part of you resents that about yourself.
Sure.
So I think we need to forgive that part and see that we're human, and don't make promises anymore. Make a commitment, but don't promise. It's slightly different.
Oh, very good point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
So make a commitment. Make a commitment to clear up the mess. Clean up your closet. Clean up the drawers. Clean up the emotions you don't need anymore. The people in your life that don't serve you well, and you don't serve them well, because it's a two-way street. And look at the self-promises about food and family and work and exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And, a long time ago I promised myself, made a promise that I was going to meditate every day. I don't. And for a long time I beat myself up and felt embarrassed when people said, of course you meditate. And I'd say, oh, but walked away feeling less than. So don't do it. Just don't do it.
Excellent point.
It just doesn't mean don't set goals, which is a different thing.
Well, that's something I think people have to realize, is that setting goals and making promises to self are two very different things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because setting goals is a what by when, and you have action plan against that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas promises are more sort of spiritual and emotional, and they're a commitment of the soul self. And if you let your soul self down, why would you want to do that?
Right.
Even addicts need goals, not promises.
Uh-huh. So when you make these promises, or let's change it, when you make these goals, what are the best ways to go about achieving them?
Well, first of all, you do need to really look at what by when. So clearing my closet is not a goal. It's a wishful thought. Getting rid of all the clothes that I haven't worn in the last 2 years is a goal.
Mm-hmm.
You see the difference?
Yes, uh-huh.
Because it's specific. Then, what are you going to do? So so getting rid by February the 30th, February the 28th. That's a good way of writing it down.
Yeah, then you're out of it, so it's okay.
That's right. So February the 28th, my clothes closets will be free of all clothes, boots, shoes, everything, accessories that I haven't touched or used or worn in the last 2 years.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty specific. And
yes.
This is how I'm going to do it. So it's what by when, okay? So what it is by when. Then the action plan. Every weekend from today until then, I dedicate 2 hours, Saturday and Sunday, to accomplish this goal.
Very good, because I think that's something, just talking with friends and family and everything, the thing everyone feels they're lacking is time.
Mm-hmm.
So by scheduling it,
right,
then you've got something that you can move forward with.
Yeah. Because we all are short of time, and one of my goals is to not spend 4 hours on Facebook every day. Or you can't write a goal about what not to do, but one of my goals is to spend a maximum of 1 hour Facebook every day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the goal. And then, so it'd be 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at noon, 20 minutes in the evening. That's it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to set the timer. So that's the action plan that goes along with that.
Oh, very
So that's
good.
how specific it is.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
And I think we have to know at the very deepest level that we are the author of our life. You know, we write the script every day of our book.
Right.
Of who we are and how we are. So to dump the junk spiritually, what do you need spiritually to really clean up all of those emotions and pain and irritation? What is it you need to do or accomplish or let go of? Write it down. Not on your computer, because that doesn't do it. If you write it down with a pen and a pad, it motivates that action part of your brain that allows action to happen. On the computer, it's not the same. It's visual on the computer, which is a different thing.
Right.
Now, visual on the computer works for people who are visual for calendars and for reminders, but it doesn't really work for action.
Okay.
You have to get the body involved to motivate to action, which is writing.
Okay. So the act of writing actually changes.
Yes.
Oh, very good. Okay.
Yeah. So writing the what by when is really good.
Okay.
And then you can plug it into your calendar on your computer if you want, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the action of writing what you're going to do emotionally, who you're going to get rid of in your life. So energy plus, energy minus people.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the energy plus people? What are you going to actually do with them? How are you going to use that so that you enhance their life and they enhance your life more?
Right.
And the opposite end, energy minus people, what are you going to do? Some you may want to just let go completely.
Right.
May fade away. Others you may want to keep in contact with because there's a familiarity there, or there's an emotional response there, or you just feel that it's good to stay in touch with a friend you've known since you were 4 years old. It's a good thing to do. So, but they don't add energy and they don't take it away. It's just nothing. So what are you going to do? So maybe 3 or 4 times a year you get together for dinner or whatever, but make the plan. Write it down. Write it down.
Okay.
So you're not where you are in 12 months' time. You're not in the same place.
Got it.
So that's the people. That's the clothes closet. That's the spiritual side of it, the emotional side of it. Now, the other part of it is the mental. Your career, your choice of relationships, your choice of how you choose to live, where you spend your time, how you're going to get unstuck and move forward. So you need to write that down too. Find out where you're stuck. What is it that you're stuck at? Is it a job where you don't feel respected? Is it what is it? Is it that you don't, you love theater but you don't go because you're too lazy, or you just haven't motivated yourself? You and your partner or friends, whatever, haven't motivated yourself to move. What is it that you just have fallen back into a non-energetic pattern of being stuck?
Right.
And just look at it and see what you want to move forward with. So that once you've dumped the junk, the energy in all parts of your life can move around.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is making sense or I'm just murbling on, but...
No, it does make sense. Because you do have to move the energy. But I do have a question.
Yeah.
Going back to personal energy and time, how do we recognize, okay, everybody says, I just don't have time. So how do we recognize that, move past that obstacle we're setting up? And what sparks the energy in us to make these changes that can forever alter the way we look at life?
It's self-understanding. We don't have time. We all have 24 hours.
Yeah, we all got limited.
We've all got 24 hours. Some people see it limited. Some people don't see it limited. How we use that 24 hours, we need to understand our own patterns. I have a very dear friend who is an artist, and she's always saying she doesn't have time. But what in fact happens is when she goes to see her friend next door who needs her help every so often for something, she doesn't just pop in. She's there for 2 hours because one of the joys in her life and one of the patterns in her life is that she likes to chat.
Uh-huh.
She likes to communicate verbally. And for other people, for instance, if it was me, I'd pop in and say, "Hi, Penny, how you doing? I'm going to Walmart, for instance, or I'm going to the supermarket. Is there anything you need while you're there? While I'm there?" And she'd say, "Yes, no, great, okay, fine. I'm off and see you when I get back."
Right.
My friend doesn't do that. She sits and has a cup of tea. Now, this is not bad, but I think you need to understand how you prefer to use your time.
Yeah.
So if you prefer to use your time watching television, or in my case, on Facebook, understand it, and know it. Don't pretend that's not using time.
Right.
I also know when I'm better at doing certain things. So, for instance, if I have something to write, I get up at 7 and I hit the computer at 7:15.
Uh-huh.
Because that's my best time, first thing in the morning. So I could be at the computer from 7:15 to 10, for instance.
Right.
Then I could, and I have a shake, a liquid breakfast or something. But then I get up and I do what else I have to do. So you need to know yourself very, very well about how you use your 24 hours and how much sleep you need. If you go to bed and you say, "Oh, I go to bed at 10, 10:30, what time do you actually go to sleep? Do you watch the news? Do you go to sleep at midnight? I mean, that's 2 hours that you've used watching television. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
And don't say, "I don't have time."
Okay.
We have time what we default to.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
Right? Now, there's some people, for instance, who commute to work, and it takes them an hour or two every day, and they sit there and they fume, and they listen to music, and they go crazy. Other people use that time to learn a language or listen to podcasts.
Right.
Again, know how you're using those 24 hours. Be very specific.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can change your mind. Doesn't mean you don't keep doing what you're doing, but at least recognize it.
Yeah.
You know when they say what they say, when you name it, you can claim it, and then you can change it if you wish.
Good point.
So know how you spend your time. Now, if you're at the beck and call of other people, which some of us are some of the time, that can be quite interruptive. So if you're working in an office, as an example, and you are constantly interrupted by your boss, then you'll notice their patterns as well. So, for instance, if you have to get something done that takes a lot of concentration, you may want to get in early and do that piece of work. Because you can't blame your boss for not using your time right.
Excellent point. That's for sure.
So, just really know it. Just really understand it. Most of the time, we just put up with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have a tendency to make big assumptions around it as well.
Yes. We have, as I said, we have 24 hours. How draw a graph, if you like. How would you split it up?
Uh-huh.
Doesn't mean it has to be rigid, but at least understand it.
Right.
Like taking a day off, you just know that you're going to take a day off and enjoy it.
Okay, so where did we go from here?
Well, where we go from here is understanding your own boundaries, which is a big part of making changes.
Definitely.
and letting go of stuff that you don't need. So if you have an opportunity to really spend it won't take you longer than maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours to work through what we've talked about today, or if you get the book called Dumping the Junk, it won't take you that long to work through it and start making the choices of how you're going to spend your time and start bringing air and energy into that.
Mm-hmm.
And celebrate new growth. Remember, we're moving into spring, which is a time of new growth.
Right.
And a time of change. So think about spiritually what you want to do for yourself, how you want to celebrate. For instance, I always make sure that wherever I am, if at all possible, I see the sunset.
Me too. That's a big deal with me.
Yeah.
You know, in the house, if I'm on the computer and working, and I hear Lee yell, "Sunset!" and we go out on the deck and watch. I mean, it's just, it's such a relaxing, peaceful time. And I'd have friends that do it at sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's sort of a connection with creation all the way around, and you have to have moments in your life like that.
Yeah, moments of stillness, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And connection. Yeah, I have a room in my apartment that looks out and sees the sunset. I've got windows because I'm a corner apartment, windows and trees. So I watch as the sun begins to set, all of the birds fly one way into the trees. They're all nesting for night.
Uh-huh.
And they become like profiles, dark profiles as they settle into the trees as the sun goes down. And this is bliss.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is connection. This is understanding that we are part of that cycle. And I'm also very grateful for the ability to see it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to take moments like that for ourselves, however you do it. Some people get that feeling when they look at their children sleeping, for instance.
Right.
Or they hear their kid laughing, that wonderful uncontrolled giggle that kids have. They absolutely wallow in that. That's a moment to capture and remember. Really be there in the moment, just like your animal, like your dog or your cat does. Be in the moment and celebrate those.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's the part of joy that you want to hold on to. And that gives you an understanding of balance, of what you really want to let go of, because that's what you want to keep. Now what can you do without?
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. I'm not certain that humans have a tendency to really look at the fact that they're keeping an emotion or a reaction on any level, really, as something that is beneficial. You know, they see it, they experience it, and let go of it. How do we get to a space where we know we need to and want to maintain it?
That's why we take photographs.
Okay. Very good.
Isn't it interesting? We take photographs and we say, "Oh, look, I just took." I don't understand the selfie thing at all, but that's me. That's not anybody else. I took a photograph of this. I took a photograph of that. But you're taking mind pictures. You're taking soul pictures, and store them in the computer of your mind, in that place where you need to retreat sometimes when things are getting a little tough or uncomfortable or sad. You can go to those places in your mind of beauty because you've stored them and saved them.
Okay, very good. That's a great way to look at it. Mm-hmm.
It's a bit like those 2 or 3 pieces of clothing that you wear over and over and over again.
Yes. We all have those.
We all have those, yeah. And everything else is sort of sometimes maybe never, and it's the never we're getting rid of. Same with feelings. Same with recognition of feelings. I have a client, and every time he goes to work, he gets a panic attack. As he says, I cross the bridge on my way to the street when the office building is, and the minute I cross that bridge, I get a panic attack.
Oh, dear.
So I said, oh, really? So don't cross the bridge.
Yeah, go a different direction.
Well, he said, but there's no other way of getting there. So I said, okay, is it the bridge? Do you think, because I'm not going to tell them the answer, right? They have to find it themselves.
Right.
Do you think it's the bridge? Why would it be a bridge? I mean, I go to bridge when I go to Niagara Falls. Okay, then what could it be, do you think? Eventually they get there. And eventually he got there. And eventually he realized that it was only in the last year or so since he had a new boss that this was happening. So then we had something to work with, and he could decide whether he wants to keep working where he's working, whether he wants to learn to manage his interaction with his boss and change that point of view, because we can absolutely change the point of view. It's only one person's point of view. You know, we've got many points of view.
Right.
Everything. And or change the job totally, or stay the way he is.
What about making big changes like that, where you completely set off on a new, uncharted path? I mean, is that a good way to start the new year? Is that part of dumping the junk?
If it works for you, I'm one of those people that have done that many times in my life, so it's not a problem for me. For some people, it is a problem. They need to feel safe. So find somewhere in your life where you do feel really safe. So you always have a touchstone. And if you're going to make radical change, do your research and and do the what ifs. What if this doesn't work? 'Cause nothing's cast in stone. So what if this doesn't work? What can I do if it doesn't work? And how will I know when it doesn't work? How much time will I give it to not work? Some things need a year. Some things need 2 months. Some things need 20 minutes. So, you know, I think you need to plan that radical change, not to the point of extinction, but just the what ifs. What's the math look like?
Planning is an important part of all of this, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Because you've got to know where you are before you can go to where you want to be.
But in that planning, do we have a tendency to sometimes not follow through? I mean, do we get to that space of I'm planning and then nothing happens, and then you feel you're beating yourself up over it again?
Sure, absolutely we do. That's why it's a good thing to break all this change into small, tiny steps if you can't handle big ones.
Right. And
small, tiny steps, you can do something every day to dump or download junk or move forward. Something. I don't care if it's walking another way to work. Something that enables you to feel comfortable with change. And I'm going to ask listeners to do something. I'm going to ask them to put their hands together, but link their fingers together so their fingers interlock. You know, when you just lock your fingers in front of you. And then just unlock them and move it over one so that different fingers are interlocking with different fingers. And feel how weird that feels.
It does feel strange.
Now take it back to the original one.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, how interesting.
Now take it back again to the new one. And again, the original and the new. And see, each time you move into the new, it gets easier and easier.
It does. It doesn't feel so unusual.
That's right. And that's exactly what happens with change. Exactly. When you think about the first time you drove a car or the first time you tied your shoelaces, it took forever to do it. And you kept making mistakes and you kept making mistakes. But eventually, now you do it without thinking. And keep linking those fingers back and back and back. And if you want it even harder, fold your arms in front of you and then fold them the other way.
Oh gosh, that is harder.
Yeah.
You don't even think about it. Wow.
That's right. So if you fold them the other way and do that every time, after a while, you'll have a choice of which way you want to fold your arms.
That's an interesting way to remind yourself that you've got little choices, that it's all up to you.
Yeah, and start doing it all the time in a small way. It makes change so much easier. Start using a different hand to open doorways.
Right.
Open, dial the number on your phone with a different hand.
Right. I grew up that way. My mom was left-handed, so I always had to go back and forth between the two.
Right.
And it did help. I mean, it sounds silly, but it does help when you have the ability to do both. And I know with us growing up as kids, we looked at it as, how well can we perfect this? I mean, we made a little game out of it, of trying to be able to iron with your left hand better than you could your right.
Oh, cool.
So you were constantly changing things. Yeah.
Right. And also, of course, that develops both sides of your brain, which is really good too.
Yeah.
But for making change and for dumping the junk, if you can understand that the first few steps in it are going to be very uncomfortable because it's different, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. Let me give you a little personal example. It happened just the day before yesterday. I'm pretty house proud in a way that I like beautiful things around me. All flowers and got lots of art and blah, blah, blah. I was making my list, as I do, on the dining room table the other day, and I have a nice, beautiful pink pad that someone gave me. And I was making my list of things to do on that weekend. And I went to answer the phone. I came back, and one of my, and I'd forgotten that it was there, that list, and I moved on, answered the phone, went on to do other things. Came back later in the afternoon, and one of my animals had obviously started drinking from my glass of water and spilt water on the table and on my pink pad. I now have a large pink square on my tabletop, which is wooden, antique wood. And I looked at it and thought, what the heck am I going to do about that? And then I looked at it again. I thought, that's cool. That looks really cool. It looks like it's been in the home of an artist who's done something really interesting. So I'm going to leave it.
Very good.
Now, I should tell you that 10 years ago, I'd have probably immediately locked the animals in the bedroom, sent the table out for refinishing, spent a fortune, done without a dining table, and had people eat on their laps, whatever, for 3 or 4 weeks or however long it took, and got really angry and pissed about it. Now I'm just thinking, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you get to a point of, and I really do try to practice this, recognizing that what is perfect?
Yes.
There is no perfection.
Right.
The perfection sits in the perception of what it is. That just is a huge step. It was for me. And it is something that I really work on constantly because we're all trying to be so perfect, for whom I'm still working that out. But it isn't there. You do the very best you can. You put your best foot forward, and that's where you are. And then from that, you can grow and progress. At least I found that to be really true with myself.
Yes. And also it allows you to let things go that don't matter in the scheme of things.
Right.
You really do feel more comfortable with what is rather than what could be. This doesn't get rid of wanting to achieve certain things. It doesn't stop you.
Oh, not at all.
No. But it allows you to be imperfect in your strive to achieve. And that includes dumping the junk. It really does. It includes letting go of things that no longer serve you well, including, for instance, my need to refinish that table so it was the way it was before.
Right. Now, that's a really important thing, and I think part of the junk we all carry, and you said it right at the beginning of the show, is trying to live up to the expectations of others, and not just to keep up with the Joneses thing, because I think so many of us have actually moved past that.
Yeah.
But trying to please others rather than looking at how we can please ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and not in a narcissistic way.
Right, right.
But in a way that celebrates life.
And you have to take care of yourself. And especially for those of us that are caregivers for others.
Yes.
If you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to be of assistance to anyone else.
That's right, yeah. And that includes allowing space for the energy to flow through you and around you, allowing the sunshine to come in.
Right.
Allowing that healing light to come in and bless you and heal you and energize you and take you in as part of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's who we are.
Do you try to take a little bit of time every day, I know you do with the sunsets, but is there another time that you just sort of shut down and center and focus, since we all know you don't meditate every day now? Is there a little space in there, and how important is that?
And this is the first time I've ever spoken about this. This is every morning I wake up, open my eyes, and I literally thank God or whoever for the ability to see.
Uh-huh.
Not only see with vision, but to see, really see, not just look, but see. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for the ability to hear. My cat's driving me crazy because they want to be fed. And I sort of laugh at myself because, part of you is laughing that you're going crazy, but a part of you is laughing because you can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
The ability for my being, my soul in the current body I'm in, that works.
Right.
The heart beats and I breath, and I feel there. I take those maybe a minute, and sometimes the gratitude is so powerful that I'm weeping because it's a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
It really is.
That's the time I take. That's what I do. And it doesn't matter what else. It doesn't matter if I'm getting up at 3 a.m. to catch a plane somewhere. That's what I do. For that first minute, I'm lying there being grateful for, first of all, the ability to see the time on the clock. And then to see beyond it what that means, that I can actually see not only the time on the clock, but I can see when buds come on the trees and celebrate that. And because with seeing, you learn to celebrate what you see, like we do when we watch the sunset.
Right. Oh, this is so important, the celebration thing, because I think one of the best things we can do to enhance 2015 is to celebrate it exactly the way you're talking about it, with gratitude and appreciation, and looking forward to what's coming rather than coming from a place of fear of what may be coming.
That's right.
We all need to move past that and just be.
Just be. Next time you meet a friend or a loved one, a cousin or a partner that you love, just look them in the eyes. Really look them in the eyes and love.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to last forever. It's a second, but really connect and celebrate that connection.
What a great show. I think we've given some good tips here. I hope everybody's enjoyed it. And I think the end point here should be the celebration of life.
Celebration of living, of life, ourselves, the flowers, the birds, the trees. Everything around us. Everything around us and beyond us.
Yes.
Everything we have ever been and will be.
Yeah, this is the way to make 2015 a good year. Because in that celebration, I think you also have a tendency to find more about you.
Yes.
And to experience and express self in different ways and in better ways.
And shine your light brighter.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We all can do that, and with that, we can change the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And darkness can't get into light. Light gets into darkness. And the brighter we allow ourselves to shine, it just gets me so excited and moved thinking about the power of that.
Absolutely. This is great. Georgina, thank you so much. This has been a treat.
Oh, you're lovely. Thank you.
And everyone out there, I hope you look around, look at the clutter on all levels, the physical clutter, the mental clutter, the spiritual clutter, the emotional clutter, which we all play in, and let it go.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't serve you. And follow some of the tips that Georgina outlined, and I think you'll find it's easy to move through it.
Yeah, and it is in the book.
Yes.
All of it, well, not all of it, but the worksheets are in the book, which they can get on Amazon if they want. But just you can do it anyway. Just do it. Just live it. Be it.
Yeah. Make your plan and move forward and take those times to be grateful and be in the moment and experience what that really, truly means. Because we're all so busy today going here, there, and taking care of this and that. You've got to have those little seconds of appreciation and connection.
Stay away from Facebook.
Yeah. Now we know your secret. Very good. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Georgina. I really appreciate it.
Bless your heart. Thank you, sweet one. Thank you.
Okay, and we'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, so tonight, when you find that moment to center and just connect with everything and be of the moment, ask yourself what serves you and what doesn't, and start clearing out the junk, the clutter, the things that have held you back in one way or another. Make a list and go through it so that 2015 can be the absolute best for you and all of those around you. Good night. Have a wonderful week.